FWOGS coming into this one, and it's going to be DNOS rocking that Omen, who doesn't see a whole lot of play nowadays. I do like, and I think when you do see a controller outside of the Viper, it usually is the Omen because of, I guess, those strong sight lines that the Paranoia gets a lot of value. Obviously, the recovering smokes, and then your up and downs, right? The Shrouded Step gets a whole lot of value, and this is, you know, probably one of the few tournaments that these ladies are going to be able to play in before the changes. So you got to use those Shrouded Steps when you get a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting that the FWOGS are bringing more of this kind of classic NA style comp. You don't see it a whole ton these days on ICEBOX, but I'll have to see what they can do. It's map 1 of a best of 3 here. Loser knocked out of the tournament, and the winner gets the opportunity to move forward, to play another best of 3, to fight for a slot in that main event. Lots on the lines for both teams here as the FWOGS, they're starting off on that defensive side with a pretty standard setup.
And I feel like that's probably the best place to start, right? With that Killjoy, with the composition that you have. And also you have a little bit of value when the only controller on the attacking side is that Viper. But a quick hit towards A here. Medici going to get spotted out by the drone. The spike bringing up the rear right behind. And so much utility. Toss on out. Joe going to find the first onto Tiff. Flashpoint right in the face. So as ML finds a trade kill. So 1 for 1 across the A side, and the take, it's still going to happen. Clefairy able to find that jet, but the spike will eventually be planted. And with that barrier orb, it's a whole lot harder to get into the site. Now corralled out through screens. All 4 members stacked up for the FWOGS, and you're feeling Froggy. They want to leap and not able to do it just yet as Jets fights for her life for 1. Clefairy with 3 on the round and still alive, but what can Meadow do? The defuse to come on through. It's halfway now. As the bolt gets taken down, pros don't fake, and Lynn will find the last kill to close it out. So FWOGS, it was hectic, but they got it done and win the pistol.
Yeah, huge work to clean that round. She finds a 3K across the board, and the most crucial frag that was picked up there early on was them killing Tiff. If Tifa had stayed alive there and was able to use her Viper utility when it did come down to that 2v2, could have delayed time on the spike, bought them that opportunity to find better post-plant positions, but that never happened because the FWOGS always had the pressure on. They never had to fully fall back, lean into that retake. They were able to just keep fighting, keep fragging, and with them having the man advantage the whole way through, there wasn't a huge opportunity for Team X to close, and now as a result, Team X onto these pistols. They're trying to make a play down mid, but Ellie's here, Ellie's ready, finds the first, trying to spray away. It's at least 2, and she wants to triple dip. 3 now for the Sage. She'll back away, and Meadow does find Klee, but it's a great position for the FWOGS to be in.
Yeah, and a really solid read to understand that this Team X team was going to look to do something cheeky up towards mid. Mid on ICEBOX is a place that doesn't get a whole lot of play just in general, so a solid read from this FWOGS team to pick that up. Obviously, the anti-eco, so you can't put a whole lot of weight in the gunfight there, but their ability to figure out what Team X was looking to get done. Now, they have to do it again. This time, though, Team X will have the higher arms, the firepower advantage, and it's Vandals across the board for everybody, which is interesting to see.
Yeah, it's a good buy-up, though, so Team X definitely on the right track here. I'm interested to see what they're going to get done with this Viper wall. Normally, you'll see either that default towards A or in towards B, but wait a second. Lynn has created so much space for the team. She could really make something happen here, especially with the support of Ellie at her back.
Gantz is here, though, able to find that first kill, maybe unaware that another one right around the corner. They're trying to play the tight angles, but it doesn't matter. 2 quick kills to the Sage. Leaves her 1 away from the resurrection, but more importantly, FWOGS down to their last 3, and they're forced to rotate over towards the A site for just a moment until Clefairy can get there. It will be a 4v2 on the site, and they're just trying to hold it down. They're just trying to stay alive. We see the Poison Cloud go through. Tiff A gonna find that one onto DNOS. Now only 2 remain as that spike goes down. Vulnerability through the snake bite. Clefairy finally links up with Cho on the site, but they're completely corralled, and I think Meadow had the sight lines on this as well, so they know that they're just behind this, so they're sending all of it there. Meadow finally to close out 1. Cho battling. It is just the bonus, so all the damage that you could do would be nice, but it's only 1 as Jance picks up a 3K. Resurrection now online for the Sage, and Team X now on the board.
Interesting to see late there. Medici was kind of going for a lurk up mid with the Jet. You don't see the Jet too often filling that lurker role, but on a map like ICEBOX, I really love it. So we'll have to see if she can get anything done with that going forward. But in terms of the round more generally, I thought the aggression was good from the Frogs, right? It's just your bonus. Try and get something done. Try and deal some damage. But it was just well read by Team X. They hold a very, very passive default there. Jance has a nice little shooting gallery, mops up a couple frags. And now Team X, they'll find their way to the board. But what scares me now for Team X is that there is an operator on the table for Lynn.
Yeah, bodes well, though, because it's on the opposite side of the map. I really enjoy what they're doing with the operator, but just in general, that very tight, that very close buddy system. There's the operator down, though, as Meadow finds the first, make it the second. The buddy system completely fails here as FWOGS find themselves once more in a 3v5 situation.
This B site is now going to be completely free. There's been a Viper wall committed for this play for the longest time, so they were just defaulting, always planning to finish towards this site with the Sage wall up. Spikes down scot-free, and in this retake here, what do the Frogs even have to work with? A little bit of utility on the Sova. Lee trying to corral that op back. I mean, there's a discussion here to maybe save onto the op, but now they kill Tife as she over-aggresses, and this is an opportunity for the Frogs to come out on top, especially as Dinos has one on the flank.
And now the mind games ensue right here because Dinos does have that flank. Is going to toss out a one-way to try and help herself out. Paranoia to try and clear out the close corners and is able to swing, but Jance finally takes her down. And now Cho, the last one standing and unfortunately looking the wrong way off the back end of a flashpoint means not only the round to Team X, but that operator not going to be retrieved.
It's just unlucky. Lynn took a bit of a peek there towards mid, but it was mistimed. She was already being held for. Ellie tries to swing for the refrag, tries to do the right thing, but shots go wide, not connecting. It's very hard to recover from a double entry like that, but I feel like the Frogs had a pretty good hack at it. They had the flank, they had the pressure on there, but it just fell to ML with a very, very nice flashpoint there. Blinds out to kills come through. There's no chance as Team X will tie things up and push the Frogs down onto an eco.
And that was just after I was kind of commemorating them for that buddy system with the operator like that. And you still see it out towards B long. It's still that Sage, it's still that Jet. They're going to be working hand in hand to try and get whatever they can done. So Ellie and Lynn, the two players that you kind of talked about, players to watch for this squad. Medici can hop on the site. First frag, swings away. Cho will fall, so no information. The upgraded pistol from Clefairy able to find one. So it's a 1-for-1 across the map. Make it a 2-for-1 and a resurrection. Swing Sings way back in favor of Team X's. All five back on the board. Won't be a flawless, but it looks like it. Dinos has to do some damage. Here's the passive from the Jet. Will take down one. So that's a couple of guns down. Jance able to close it down there at the end. And Dinos, I mean, a round of applause, right? That's kind of the best you could hope for in a safe situation.
Yeah, not too bad at all. They take 2 frags off the board here, force some reinvestment, and what was even better is they forced the resurrection to come out from Jance. Yeah, she's fragging, so I'm sure she'll have it back up in no time, but that's a huge ult to kind of use in that anti-eco. And now the FWOGS, off of that nice little save round, are going to have money back in. They're going to give Lynn a second chance on this operator, and she's still holding towards B main, but looks like Team X might be poking around that way. So an opportunity now for Lynn to find herself up on the board.
And because of no quick peeks, they actually opt to head the opposite direction. And because the Sage has also been playing out towards B main, that means Tube completely clear of a Sage wall. It's the Owl drone to find Ellie about on an island here out towards yellow. Faye assumes position up inside a kitchen and could just have the perfect timing onto Dinos, and she does. The first kill to come the way. Now the Poison Cloud goes down, and Medici is able to find another, opening up the site just about completely as Lynn finally hops on the board with that operator, taking down the flank. But still 4 players to worry about. A couple of ultimates on the line. The biggest one here for me are is the lockdown available for FWOGS, but obviously with that Hunter Shuri, there's just never a great time to put that one down. So the romping and stomping, the stampede over towards the A site from Team X. Not going to be heard just yet. It's the slow rotate from FWOGS.
Yeah, they're ready for this play now, but the spike should be able to find its way into the ground. For the Frogs, the question is, do we invest this ultimate? Do we put the lockdown into play? There's a possibility of it. Instead, it's the Hunter's Fury finds 2 tags, and especially if they can get a kill off of this, they can open things up. Everyone on that Team X roster quite low. You're right. Now, Lynn has the blades to work with as well.
There's that lockdown, so Hunter's Tree going to be used now. It can't be used for the post plant, though, so maybe a pretty good call on that one. As Show finds the first couple, it's just a couple of body shots. That's all you need to try and close this one out in a 2v2 situation. Both teams chipped away at here. Better with the shock dart lineups, has two of them to work with, is going to send out one. It is able to find the damage. Rolling Thunder going to knock them up and stun them. They have to try and get away. The spike is halfway. This is just going to be another stick play from the FWOGS. Clefairy to close out the 2 kills, and we're all tied up.
Yeah, the FWOGS do put everything into that round, but who cares when they can pull it off out of nowhere? Team X, it felt like they had the perfect setup to deny that post plant. They had 2 shocks, they had the Rolling Thunder, but it was just a bit ill-timed, right? Like the second shock goes out at the same time as the Rolling Thunder. The Rolling Thunder actually knocks the player who was diffusing back, almost saves her from those darts, and well, just ends with a stick. I really don't like that plant spot in general, because I feel like you're over-reliant on your post-plant utility, and if any one piece of utility misses, then the round can just be lost, and there can just be a stick to come through. That's exactly what happened, and it's a crucial loss for Team X. Now, they're re-attempting this B site, partially because Lynn doesn't have that operator directly in her hands to contest, so it would be a better opportunity for them to make this work, because it's Team X still slow in this default.
And very notable, right? No operator in the hands, just about everybody dying in that last round. So the economy might be in an awkward spot. We might have some light shields a bit lower on the utility for some of these players. So this 3-3 scoreline, I mean, it could quickly become a 2 or 3 round lead for either of these teams because of where we're at. You saw Dinos there peeking over Boiler with just a Spectre in hand. And, oh, the tailwind dash away, but sometimes you just get shot in the middle of it. So Jet v Jet, Medici comes out on top, but Ellie's able to trade it back. So nice and even, and a resurrection available for the FWOGS, but things get a whole lot more difficult on the B side as the domain expansion comes through. And a welcome to T-Phase innate domain. Viper's Pit is up, the spike is down, the reload to come through, and Ellie could have had the timing, but doesn't have the bullets. Now in a 4v5 situation, making a 4v4 again as Ellie went for the res, picked it up, but falls herself. Now playing inside the pit is this Team X squad as they look to push through. Clefairy able to take down the Viper. That's going to open things up huge here, Mimi. 3 remaining. They're all out towards yellow or gray, but they're still finding the kills. Jance has been a hero for this team. ML right behind, but the flashpoint is just a bit too late. Now the angle swinging outside from yellow. The timing, because Jance wasn't here a second ago. She's able to clutch it out. 3 kills on the round, and the 4th round for Team X.
Oh, the timing was just off there for the FWOGS. They do the absolute right thing. Go aggressive. Push 2 to try and find the players towards yellow, but Jance, she wins that dance of death, finds herself cover in time, and stays alive at the last second to clutch up the 2 versus 1. These are the rounds that the FWOGS can't let slip away. Notice how Cho, I don't know, I don't think she ever knew where Jance was. She was suspicious of maybe Mains, who was trying to fight for that position, but in sitting there, she can't trade her teammate. They isolate those 1 versus 1s, lose it out, and now FWOGS, they're down to an eco, they're at a deficit of rounds, and immediately they lose the opening pick.
For you.
And a heal off the back end, so that Viper lit call isn't going to amount to too much. It does look like a hindered by here. As we said in the last, it was Dinos on a Spectre, so we knew the economy was in a weird spot. So a couple of sheriffs across the board for this FWOGS squad. They're just going to look to do some damage. You find a couple of kills and quite possibly a couple of rifles. You could swing this around, but the position that they're in, the long-range battles with the sheriff, there's no way you recover anything. With the Marshal in hand, we'll see what Dinos get done with that. The 3 remaining, you just got to send it, right? You have the credits to go into the next round. No reason to save here, and maybe you sneak out a round. It does seem highly unlikely as 1 kill comes through. Now doing damage to the economy. Smoke's going to go on through. Dark cover on top of yellow as a flashpoint. Going to blind up every single member here as Cho tries to back away. Will eventually fall to ML as Team X now grow their lead to 2. As that spike blows, so does ML. The FWOGS will have another chance here with rifles in hand.
Yeah, this is the FWOGS opportunity to build things back into their favor. And in terms of what the changeup needs to be, it's a bit of a hard call, but I wouldn't hate to see them get a little bit more aggressive, because we've seen some tries at aggression, but for the most part, it's been somewhat isolated, right? It's been Lynn taking a fight alone. It's been someone just dying out on an island. But if they could get a little bit more coordinated with this, try that buddy system again between Lynn and Ellie, maybe get a play going there. There's an opportunity, and we do see that a little bit. They've committed 2 players to work on this mid control, fight for that space, while they're leaving Lynn alone towards B with the operator. I like that they have Lynn very passive here, because she's been trying for these aggressive lines and just getting shut down. Let her have the long range. Let her have every advantage with that operator.
And Team X have also been, I mean, really, the X factor feels like the Viper pick just because it has been so wonky. It's been a toxic screen to A, through mid, through B, never really telling too much. This time it does seem like the rest of the squad going to bring up the rear, but that is just enough time to buy out a rotation from FWOGS. They're still unsure of where this team wants to end. Now they can hear the footsteps, and DNOS just trying to sneak away as the nano swarms come on through. Medici only going to take a bit of damage, but DNOS still undiscovered here on this site. As Snakebite comes down, the wall goes up, the Hunter's Fury again, the ping, so much information from the recon bolt, and so much damage once more. Cho goes huge. Now it just takes a couple of body shots for a handful of these members. The resurrection is available for Team X, but I don't know if they're going to be in a situation to be able to get that one out as Tife gonna fall, no shields. It's all down to 1, and if you blinked, you missed it. Jance finds another 3K on the round, and Team X pick up 1 more.
Another operator buy that doesn't net a single kill there for the FWOGS. They're going to take the timeout here, and I think it's a good opportunity because they cannot seem to figure out how to hold down the defense. And I think you had the right shout there when you brought up that it's the Viper pick, because besides just the utility, Viper provides so much like conditioning potential. You can sell a fake incredibly easy. Just toss out that wall, block off half the map, deny information. You can force the FWOGS to get aggressive to try and fight for that information, and that's when you're just getting these easy kills. How many times have we seen Jance just hold an angle, wait for the FWOGS to have to push, have to fight, and she just obliterates them? It keeps happening. So the FWOGS, this is their moment. They can talk with their coach Cham. They can figure out what's going on and kind of get this game plan, because if they're going to go down maybe those 7-5s, 8-4s on their defensive half, then things aren't looking pretty. They need to pick it up right here, right now, Tanner.
Yeah, defense is I think the big statement there, right? You're starting on defense, and this is typically where we see teams do well, and maybe this comp does provide a bit more in the offensive strategies, right? Like if you sub out that Omen for the Viper, that wall, it's really hard to disrespect on defense. You have to run through one or the other. We were talking about the other day, the way that Ian was playing Viper on this map for Sonics, and you could wall off A, throw your poison cloud B, and the only way that they could go to avoid that utility is mid. And then obviously with the Sage on your team, you have a lot of ways to lock that down. So we'll see if they can turn it around off the back end of a tactical pause here. Lynn plays up close and personal. No op this time and no rifle. It is going to be that judge in hand. So trying to do something cheeky in these close corners once more. But Team X, they're just privy to this. They've got the strats, they've got the plans, and they know how to pick this defense apart. Speaking of, Ellie will look to pick apart this push towards mid, but a beautiful toxic screen just allows free pass under tube. And there's nobody here to stop it. Now DNOS might possibly spot it out, forced to take the fight, but it's a Spectre versus a Vandal. And again, the Vandal comes out on top. Meadow finding these entry frags has been huge for this Team X squad. The rest of the team brings up the rear. Clefairy getting caught out. Tife on the lurk. The Viper will back away, but looks to do a bit more damage here, playing just outside kitchen.
Oh, she heard the drop down, ready for this fight. Tife for 1. The judge desperately trying to make a play, but she has to run straight into the Viper. Lynn shut down. It's a flawless anti-buy there for Team X. And look how much map control they had to work with. It's one Viper screen, and they have the entirety of middle. They work their way fully into back B. They even have the lurk allowed up into kitchen. The FWOGS, it felt like they really weren't contesting anything, and part of that is that they don't have a Viper to rely on. I think when you play Viper on this map defensive side, she's another sentinel. You can trust that Viper to hold down your B site completely alone. You can trust that Viper to hold down your A site alone if you need to, and they just don't have that. They have to be committing resources to get this information instead, and it just feels like the Frogs aren't comfortable right now on this map. It's 7-3 on the scoreline, and it's starting to get into that stage where it's do or die, especially as they lose the entry yet again.
It looks like they bought up just a bit in eco here to try and have some firepower before going into the next round, but the 8th on the table here for Team X. They've got double the manpower, now triple, as it's a 1v3 situation. Cho able to find one, looking for another frag there off the back end of that res. They do make the res come through, right? They do buy out that res, and they get the information. They are playing up top inside of heaven, but DC sneaks away from being pinged on the dart. 4 players will remain, and now in the last round of the half, 8-4, the best FWOGS could hope for.
Oof, 8-4, that scoreline is not looking fantastic. Lynn is having a rough one. I kind of called it out in the pregame that she's a fantastic player, but she sometimes struggles with inconsistency, and that's what we're seeing here. Lynn hasn't been able to find her mark quite yet in this game. And when the FWOGS don't ever have that opening pick, they don't ever have that easy way into a round, they're just not able to close out. We're looking at the possibility of a 9-3 half here, so FWOGS, this is their time to get something done, and it might just be DNOS in main.
DNOS swinging once more. Might just get pinged by the Owl drone on the way out, and does look like she sneaks away, but the information is there. That fault line trying to find a stun on the way out. Couldn't get it just quite. As the tailwind back towards yellow, they assume they position on the side. It's the wall, it's the Viper's pit, it's the poison cloud, it's everything and some more as Tife swings it, takes down DNOS. The spike finally planted, but a lockdown. Looking to get things done to try and push him off the site. Hunter's Fury trying to spot the lockdown, and it does that and more. It takes the lockdown off the map, and it's looking to take FWOGS off the map here as they don't have much to push on into this one. They need to find Tife inside the poison cloud here. ML, mind you, is on the flank, so somebody needs to turn around, try and make a play out towards tube, or else they will fall as they push on into the Viper's pit. It's only up to Cho once more, and it's only 1 health because of the decay. It's looking like 9-3. What damage can she find on the way out? It is none. 3 remain. That is the only, or that is the amount of rounds the FWOGS were able to grab. 9-3 now as they mount their attack.
They're going to have to show something big on this attacker side if they want to pull this off. 9-3, you lose pistol here. You're already down to those double digits. It's a likely 11-3 deficit, so the FWOGS definitely need to pick things up, win the pistol, get things rolling. But I want to see, how are they going to play around not having this Viper? Because that puts so much pressure on DNOS. She needs these smokes to be in the perfect place at the perfect time, because it's a huge map with so many open lines, and she only has 2 little smokes to work with. It's gonna be tough, for sure, for the FWOGS to bring this back. It's not impossible, but, I mean, Team X, they're just looking well prepared. They're reading what the FWOGS are doing. They're being given so much map control, and they're just playing off that perfectly. So now, FWOGS, this is their time to get something done. But Maddie C, you can see the confidence there. Just taking the aggressive peek, taking an aggressive line. That's because she knows she has the support of the breach of ML in the back lines.
And this pistol round going to be a big one to try and get back in this game. Some damage traded out towards ML. He's in a tough spot. Stuck in the corner, but getting pinged there. So not a surprise should she dash out just like that. And Lynn to find the kill on her counterpart. The aftershock going to go wide, and 37 health separates ML from death. As 1 player down, our Team X, they look to find their way back into this one. As that healing orb just narrowly missing out on the top up there. 97 HP, but just enough to try and help fight with the team. But a really solid post plant. They're all off the site for the most part for the FWOGS. And I would imagine they've got some lineups in their back pockets as well. So Poison Cloud look to cut off some vision. Ellie up close and personal, maybe with a slow orb, trying to get something done. No, it's a couple of kills with a classic instead. ML able to battle back, still alive and hanging on in the round. Finds another, but is now the last. Needs 2 kills and a defuse. But it's just too hard to get done. FWOGS battle back, and they grab the pistol on attack.
Huge start there for the FWOGS. This is their opportunity. This is the bit of rock for them to start to lay this comeback on. if it's going to be something that can come forward. And I really liked what I saw on that execute, Tanner. They just got very, very aggressive. They kind of kept the fight forward. They knew that there was an opportunity to get an early advantage, so they pressed that. That kind of calculated, coordinated aggression is what I'm hoping to see the FWOGS continue, and it shows me that they haven't lost confidence yet. And I think that's huge, because if you're a team and you're down at this deficit and you lose your confidence, you get stressed out, that mental goes awry, then at that point it's kind of GG. But Messi, she's just running through a smoke, but Lynn does her one better, sprinting forward with the Spectre for a double. She's in for 3. Lynn's back in business, baby, but it is only 3. Shut down eventually, and this round has the FWOGS written all over it.
You do love to see those kills go in the way of the Jet. Should you get in trouble, say losing the bonus or losing the rifle after it, as Clefairy closes things out onto Jance, those 3 kills on your Jet mean when you go into that next eco buy or quite possibly the next save, you're going to have those blades online, right? So Lynn actually has them online now, so can hang on to them either in this round, like we quite possibly might see just a Sheriff in hand with the blades available, or in a later round that could be the reason that the tides turn, right? You get a couple of kills like Lynn just did, you get that confidence back, it kind of deals with the inconsistencies that we're seeing, and the Jet then is allowed to spread her wings and fly. So we'll see if that is going to be the case. We'll see where those knives, are going to be popped in this round with the Sheriff as the secondary. That recon bolt grabs a ping out towards mid. DNO's going to posture aggressively up towards B with the spike in hand. So 3 players out towards A just to grab some space, maybe grab some attention of this Team X squad as that spike slowly creeps back over.
So much pressure's on Lynn this round. She needs to find a kill. She needs to find an opener, and there it is. Medici down. That gun's not recoverable, but it's what the FWOGS need, especially if Lynn can get the second. But the shots with ML has a double, and now the advantage immediately regained by Team X.
And I mean, name a better defender than ML. So huge in just these last couple of rounds. Jance finds another here in this round, leaving the FWOGS down to their last 2, a 2v4 situation, something they've been very familiar with here on ICEBOX. Recon Bolt can get the ping onto both, and unfortunately, you walk through a molly, you meet your death, you swing the corner, you meet your fate in death as Meadow closes things out onto Cho. 10-5 as Team X battle back, grab their first, and the blades unfortunately just didn't get enough done for the FWOGS.
It had the entry, but it was well set up by Team X, right? That Medici was she could get aggressive with a peek from that position on top, but there was no chance of her gun falling into the hands. If there had been a forward player killed by those blades and they could have picked up the rifle, that's when things get dangerous. But Team X doesn't allow things to slip out of their control. They keep things nice and safe. They find their way to double digits. The thing is, the FWOGS are now going to have guns. They're going to have a nice little buy-in. But this is the round where we kind of get to dictate. Is there actually a strong chance the FWOGS are going to be able to come back? Or is Team X going to be able to lock this one out? Because Team X wins here, it's going to be the FWOGS on an eco. It's most likely going to be match point. So everything is here to be done for the FWOGS. And we see the power of the Viper locking down this B site, at least for the moment.
And B site is already difficult enough to swing just because you have to take that long range battle. But then you add the decay that you get almost immediately, and it makes this Spectre just like this get a lot of value. No, it's Tifa instead to find one with the snake bite. Ellie Twitch just picks up a couple and opens up the B site for her squad. The resurrection as well. So all 5 make it 4. Will be alive for the FWOGS. They look to push onto the site. The spike yet to be planted as that barrier orb. It blocked things off out towards mid, and maybe FWOGS are second guessing. Once they can get eyes on all 3 players, they might look for a rotate as Guardian kill from ML and find a 3v3 situation as FWOGS back away.
They're leaving DNOS here to maybe try and get a lurk up, look for some aggression, but the spike, still not committed. They're just trying to cut noise here. I'd imagine then re-exec, but Team X isn't biting. Actually, Jance getting aggressive. She could die the DNOS on yellow, and she will fall. Now it's down to 2, but Team X, Tanner, they still have this Rolling Thunder.
And the Aftershock to try and stop the plan. It is going to buy some more time. Only 20 seconds on the clock. The Rolling Thunder now taken off the board, though, as ML falls. Lynn picks up a huge frag. The impact there in that one. It could have bought so much time for this Team X team, and they could have run down the clock, but now Meadow has to try and get it done in a 1v3 and can't. Lynn, the couple of big kills here in this one. will put FWOGS back in the win column. And the damage to the economy has been done. It's looking pretty rough across both boards.
Yeah, it will just be a bit of a save out of Team X. I'm interested to see if they're going to commit any ults into this one. They do have that Rolling Thunder. They could try and work something aggressive off of that, especially if it looks like a situation where it's winnable. But I really hope that we don't see Team X start to kind of greed for this win. Don't get overconfident. Don't get aggressive, because a 10-6, that's super losable. That's only 4 away from tying it up. They need to keep this ship tight and to not make too many mistakes and just kind of keep that steady course towards victory, because I mean, if we remember that map pool, next map up is Bind, and that's probably the FWOGS' best map.
So if you're Team X, you feel really good to be able to close things out here. And it would speak good things of this squad should they be able to do so. As the plant just a bit off-angled towards the tube as the Sheriff starts to go to work. Medici able to find the first. Meadow now taken off the board. And Meadow's been a multi-fragger, but now it's Cho instead to find a couple of kills. 20 health as she backs away. A resurrection. Going to try and swing things back in favor. And a couple of kills traded back and forth, but it's all FWOGS on the site for now. As Cho finds a third. Snakebite's going to try and stop the pushes as they look to go for the defuse. Hunter's Fury comes on through. 85 health. Fade should stay alive here in this one as the shock dart queued up. No, 5 HP remaining, but can they get back on? Yes, they can. Lynn on the flank, running down the clock. You don't need the kills. You've got the time. FWOGS will hang on as Cho picks up 4 on the round. A refresher of that alt pip after using the Hunter's Fury, and 7-10 the scoreline.
Cho provided the base to create that round for the FWOGS, but it was Lynn to really close things out. She attempted that lurk early on, but they were onto her. They shot at her. She had to fall away, and she just chills out for about 10 seconds before she fights back in. In a hectic round like that, it's easy to forget about a player up a lurk, and Lynn comes out at the perfect time to save that round. But Tanner, it shouldn't have had to come down to that. It shouldn't have had to come down to Cho and to Lynn being heroes, because it was just that anti-eco. There was 2 ults invested, which did make it more risky, but still, the FWOGS gonna have to be reeling a little bit after how close that got.
Yeah, and the eco rounds in Valorant, they're always so strange. We heard at the beginning of the broadcast, Sam was talking about plays that were made, I believe, by Maroon Raccoons Black, where their first couple of wins were off Rifty victories. They always find their way to make it in the most opportune moments. Now, speaking of opportune, Rolling Thunder going to stop the push for a second, and it's going to allow ML to back away. Detained, unfortunately, by the lockdown, but far enough so there's nothing to worry about. As Hunter's Fury going to try and stop the plant, but I believe Ellie put it up top. No Viper lineups for this one, but maybe they've got the Killjoy and Sova tech as they back away from the site. Ellie still playing on top of 410. Clefairy right behind as Medici looks to grab some information up towards the Raptors. Nano Swarm going to try and stop things for a moment as the blades come through, and Medici could have herself around here.
Oh, look at this lurk up from Dinos. Medici trying to fight in towards the site, but this post-plant positioning perfect. However, up comes the ult, but no, it's missing the position, and Dinos is here.
There it is, Dinos, the blind, going up top, able to stop the defuse. ML still holding down the fort, but not for much longer. They back everybody away. They take the site, and they win the round. FWOGS string together 3 in a row.
Lots invested there from Team X again. That's the second round in a row now, Tanner, where they've invested these ultimates into trying to close out and haven't been able to do it. You're right to call it out, because Dinos' lurk there really was the key to close out. Yes, there was still 2-3 players alive in main, but the spam, it's always just a numbers game. It's always a game of chance into that smoke, so good on Dinos to shut things down. And now for Team X, I think this is a good time for the tack, because they're 2 away from the FWOGS pulling things together. And while these rounds have been close, there's still been no consistent way for Team X to start to pull out rounds.
And this becomes scary too, because at what point, are you out of strategy? At what point are you kind of unsure of what to throw at this team now that they've started to figure you out? It seemed pretty dominant for Team X for the most part, especially their attacking side. They move over to defense. They're able to sneak away on the bonus round because they had full rifles. And now it seems like it's all FWOGS, right? 5 out of the last 6 swing their way. If you're Team X, you're probably shaking a little bit in your boots thinking, all right, what do we do now at this point? How do we stop them? It might not be this round because it is just the upgraded pistols, although we saw a lot of damage the last time these weapons were in these ladies' hands. But you've got a couple of rounds to kind of find clarity and figure out, okay, now we need to close things out. 10 to 10 is where things start to get scary.
Yeah, it is. They're trying to get something done with the sheriffs here. They do find Lynn, but she's revived. Ellie has the trade back. So FWOGS looking pretty good here, and they're making the rotation towards A site. Just completely free, but two members of Team X are starting to clear through mid, so definitely a flank potential here from Meadow if that turret doesn't catch her out. Well, there isn't even a turret right now. Nothing watching the flank. She could go big here, but now Lynn's in position. Yep. Lynn should have the shutdown, unsuspecting. Lynn executes her, and it's down to 3 for Team X on this retake.
Yeah, even better than a turret. It is Lynn with a Vandal in hand, a couple of shots to find that one. And for Team X, you find yourselves in a situation that FWOGS were in earlier with the Sheriffs. You're really looking to do some damage here at this point. You want to stop the growth of this economy that has been flourishing with the 5 out of 6 wins. Paranoia goes through, Medici trying to swing on out. T-Fake going to be taken down. Lynn finds her counterpart, and ML, you've been good. Unfortunately, a dink from that range is not good enough. 5 health remain, as it would have been a flawless, but a resurrection was used. As FWOGS grab another 1 round away from tying things up. And now at this point, I'm taking a peek at Jance. Jance was Mrs. Multi-Kill, ML, Miss Multi-Kill, holding it down on the A side. Now that they've got rifles in their hand, now that an operator is on the board, this is where Team X, if they want to close it out, they really need to do it right here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a really slow start from Lynn. She's now stepped things up, and the same charge is in the hands of Medici. She's had a rough game thus far, 6-16. With the operator in the hand, she can make herself a difference maker with this peek right here, and she shuts down her counterpart. Finally, Team X, they'll open up a round, and this time there's no resurrection to bail the FWOGS out.
And that stings because the only thing separating Lynn and Medici using the operator on this map is Medici's just in the right place at the right time. Lynn could never really find the angle, couldn't find the shot. Every time she'd play B, the Team X was going A. So it just stings that they didn't get more value out of their op. And obviously you see it now in the hands of Medici and Team X. They get a beautiful read. They're able to find that first kill, and that really rattles things here for the FWOGS.
And she didn't even use her tailwind after that first shot. So Medici can still, if she needs to, take an aggressive line without too much risk to herself. An opper on the jet is always a danger. I like that the FWOGS are just kind of cutting noise here, trying to see if Cho can sell something towards B. But thus far, no one's really biting on it. They still have Medici anchoring down this A site.
Now the op, although it will find a frag some way, somehow, it's usually only good for 1. So as they start to stampede on, unless they line up perfectly here for Medici, she might not be able to find too many. And there's 1. Maybe, okay, I thought the collateral was there to find a bit of damage onto DNOS, but not going to be the case as 3 remain. Team X all going to bring up the rear here. All 5 still alive as DNOS swings out. You've got 2 players who possibly still have your lineups available for FWOGS. This post plant might not be the worst in the world. Unfortunately, it gets a whole lot harder, though. Now it's down to those 2. A couple of nanoswarms. They're very going to swing out, find T-Fay. It's Cho to find the kill, but they're just going to stick it here inside the safe corner. You just can't get enough damage down in time. They stick it. They win it. And do they find the last kill? Yes, they do. They strip the FWOGS of the guns as well as their string of wins. Another one on the board for Team X, inching closer to map point.
I feel like that was a bit of a mistake from the FWOGS to play so passive there. I think they were thinking, we have the darts, we have the mollies, we can stop this plant, but there wasn't enough time for that. Team X was already on the scene. Team X had the pressure up. And in those circumstances, when you're already down by 2, you have to be the one making the move. You have to make the play. And no one from the FWOGS was really up to bat to make that play. So they get shut down. It's Team X off another retake back on the board. And here's another opportunity for Medici, but this time she'll miss that shot, and Lynn's deep into mid.
Pushed all the way up here. Could have the angle on Meadow. Meadow kind of privy to it for a second, but then looks away back towards the dark cover and unfortunately pays for it with her life. But Jance pushing aggressively down the tube. You're expecting a wall, but instead you get the Sage. And things are even across the board. The only ultimate online is that from the shadows from DNOS. And she does have the spike in hand. So you buy that full rotation. You figure out where that Jet and that Breach are playing. Now that you have the information that the Viper is here, the Sage is here with that slow orb going down. The lockdown going to push him away. And I wonder if we'll see an Omen ult to the opposite site to open things up. There's the fault line. 3 of 4 now accounted for. It is just going to be that barrier orb going down. The Nano Swarm's on top of the spike as the plant comes through. It'll be a 4v4 retake on B.
No one really from the FWOGS in position to make a lurk happen here, so they just have to fight back in. And notice how that Viper utility is still up. That can completely block the sightlines, allow this spike to fuse to come through. So a lot of pressure on the FWOGS now, but they have the dart, they have the utility.
And the dart goes out, pings Medici once, not going to find the next as the Cloudbursts continue to go on through. Medici finds that kill, pretty big one to find, goes up top on top of Yellow and picks up another. Dinos falls as the blades come online. Ellie able finally to even the odds there as Cho picks up one on the diffusing Tife. 10-11. It was hectic. The FWOGS got it done.
How the hell did Medici get a kill just from updrafting top Yellow? That's
no clue.
That's insane. But I mean, some hero plays aren't going to be enough to pull it off. The FWOGS had the utility there, and I called out that they had that dart up for a second, so that Viper smoke almost worked against them because the players pushing Yellow just had to funnel in from one direction. They couldn't really pinch that Yellow position. Well, the FWOGS, they just kind of won out on the train battle, come out on top of that post plant, and now Team X yet again reset onto this eco as the FWOGS, they look on verge here of finding us into even odds.
And that hurts the most. Well, that hurts a whole lot more as well. Lynn finding that first kill when you're trying to do something cheeky. But even when Team X are starting to battle back and they're able to piece together a couple of rounds here in this half, their economy has just been so poor for the entire half. And obviously that's what happens when you're losing, but it really hinders you from finding any momentum. And this time, unlike the times we saw previously, it's classics for the majority of this squad, right? They're not investing in the Sheriffs, or maybe they can't invest in the Sheriffs or the Frenzies going into the next round with an appropriate buy. So they're hanging on to everything, kind of giving this one over to the FWOGS to tie things up, but then got to put your heart on the line. As we'll see who will be the first to 12. The FWOGS swing around. Ellie Twitch is going to find the kill on the counterpart. Jance to fall. The Poison Cloud going to stop things for just a moment as that barrier orb cuts things off. So nobody pushing through the tube as Dinos looks to get that spike planted. Lynn going to be watching the flank. And a near flawless here at this point as Tife going to push on through. Frenzy in hand. Maybe the only one to get something done there, but just can't do it. As a flawless round for the FWOGS to tie us up. And guns in hand for Team X. I don't know if that's going to be enough because the FWOGS momentum is, I mean, choo-choo all aboard.
Yeah, they've only lost 2 rounds this half thus far, Tanner. Absolutely insane out of the FWOGS, the way they've managed to come back into this. And you were talking before that round about how rough the economy's been, and one of the biggest factors in that is that it's kept Medici off the op. The couple rounds where we saw her with it, she was finding multis. She was finding those openers. She was doing what Lynn was never able to do, but she's just never been able to consistently pull it out, and that's big props to the FWOGS to keep this momentum forward. They have money completely teaming. They will have money the rest of this, I mean, the rest of regulation at very least, with no problems whatsoever. So Team X, this is kind of their last chance to close out here because they've put all their stock into this round. They lose here. The economy's terrible. They're against match point. They cannot let this slip away now.
And Team X, though, corralling this squad. CBDC pushed all the way through B, so has all this information. The rest of the squad now come over towards this A site to try and stop this push, so it should be a fair battle. And this one has a couple of flashpoints, delay things for a moment. CBDC just biding time out towards mid. Ellie finds one, finds two. Ellie goes huge here in this round to try and take the lead, but Tife in the corner, only able to go good for one. Dinos trades it back, and Team X in such a difficult spot as Medici brings up the rear to battle back with the team, but now Meadow in a 1v2 situation needs to clutch it out. First to 12 here on the table. And again, you've got the lineups, you've got the Hunter's Fury available as well. FWOGS seemingly have this round in the bag. Meadow swings around a peak, spots the spike, the turret now down, so it gives you information as to where that Killjoy is playing. The first shot comes on through, finds the kill onto the counterpart. The recon bolt for the information. 7 rounds in the chamber. Full utility for Meadow here, and Team X could be the first to 12. Match point on the horizon. Halfway goes the spike. Clefairy to clutch it out, and FWOGS will take the lead.
Oh, that was so incredibly losable. She shows just a little bit too much of her shoulder, dies for it, but thankfully Klee is there for the FWOGS. They managed to pull things to match point. And now Team X, they've got to be stuck in this position. They've got to be feeling just down because they've already used their tack in this half. They don't have that available. They just have to completely recollect, and with even worse utility, even worse weaponry than they've had in these previous rounds, they have to pull it off. And the question for me is, what do you change up? Because I feel like they can't just keep playing back. They need to try something new, maybe try some aggression. It could be Medici. She has the tailwind. She has the right position to get something done here.
And they bought up all they could for Team X here in this round. We just saw ML doesn't have the aftershock, I believe, down a flashpoint as well. So utility struggling for the squad. And speaking of ML, unfortunately, Kasser cursed her there. Ellie going to find the opening frag again. That's 3 rounds in a row. And Ellie picking up that first. It tells me that she's not done. She's going to find another.
Oh, Hunter's Fury up here for Cho. She might even connect the frag. You know, they get away just in time. Too far for that Hunter's Fury to have impact, but the tag and the information is there. Breach does still have the Rolling Thunder on the back of ML, but the site is practically free. They're committed into playing this retake, which they've struggled with previously, Tanner.
And we've seen this before, though. We've seen ML on low HP, not afraid to hold down the site. Stalwart in her defense. It's Meadow to find it first, but Cho is there to trade it back. Jance hops on the board. It's the last round of regulation, and Team X are up a player. Lynn has the knives online. Maybe doesn't need them just yet as Tife opts into the Spectre this round with 1 snakebite available, full armor. Looks to swing back towards the B side. Unfortunately, it's the wrong call. The spike bringing up the rear towards A.
Well, Medici could have a huge lurk up here. She's working the flank. The turret's down. No one's watching for this, so she could shut away now. But the FWOGS, they're down a player. They need to take a fight quickly here, but the retake should be fast, and the flank is still coming.
And then we pinched on this site. There's Lynn with the knives online. Fault line to try and find a stun. It's Lynn to find the kill onto Jance, evening the odds. But Medici on the flank. This could be huge. Cho could be the first one spotted out. First one taken down. Now Lynn turns her attention with the knives. Medici finds another. The flank comes through huge, and we're headed to overtime.
Oh, Medici, she pops off when we needed her. The moment was tough, but she finds her opportunity. She finds Team X a way back into overtime. And it never should have gotten this far. Team X shouldn't have given the opportunity for the FWOGS to come back in, but by some margin, by some miracle, the FWOGS have brought us this far. They've brought us into overtime. And now either team really has a chance to close out, but I feel like the pressure is still squarely on Team X, because this is their map pick. This is their best chance in the series, because they lose here, and the rest of the map pool is just, it's really not the best for them. So Team X gotta get something done. The other big thing is that it's overtime. The money changes aren't out yet. No one's really gonna be able to have an operator unless they risk it in a big way. And that was one of those things. In those like 4 rounds on defense, Team X could pull off. It was one of the big things that were keeping them alive. But they do get to start on their more favorite half. They get to start on the attack. They get to set the tone, set the pace, and get their right foot in the door.
This was 9-3. When we saw the FWOGS on defense, Team X on the attacking side in the first half. Now, like you said, the economy, things start fairly even. One of the things that is scary to me, we just saw it on that Sage there. It was Jance has the frenzy. So they go all in, right? They buy nice pistols when you can, because obviously with the 5,000 credits, you can afford that. And that could be, in a close game like this, what turns the tides, right? Sometimes that right click on the classic isn't the best. As 4 members stacked up for this Team X squad. Recon Bolt to go down, but it tags out 2, so they've got information that they're queued up for this one. Now the hit to take place. Slow orbs going out towards screen. Location revealed by that Recon Bolt. Oh, and a huge kill from Lynn that takes down the controller here for Team X. And this could be one of the very few rounds that we've seen FWOGS win on defense in the most important times. Medici, though, on the flank is going to catch Klee with knife in hand. Now looking for Ellie, dashes away, stays alive. And what a huge player for this Team X squad. The flanks on the Jet, you said it's awkward, you said it's weird, but it's starting to work.
It really is. She's picked things up right when they need her, but they're not out of the woods yet. They're not safe quite yet. Spike does hit the ground, but the retake from the FWOGS is well postured. They already have control of Orange. The second that Spike has hit, and they still have utility to work with Team X, they need this round. They need to keep it up, but the positioning is good to do so.
DC going for the flank again, low on HP. Dinos is going to take her down. Now again, Dinos on the Omen, a thorn in the side. They have to worry about where it's coming from. The flashpoint's actually going to find the stun on their own team, and Cho picks up 1 kill. ML's able to trade it back, but the flank to come on through. Dinos needs to go huge, finds the first. Now needs to find Jance and has to get on that spike in time, but is running out of it here. The swing around the corner, and of course, Jance on top. We'll put Team X on top once more, 13-12. As they swap sides, they'll have to hold it down to try and close us out.
Medi C, what a huge round from her. She has the initial flank to find that space towards B. Her lurks have been on point on the attacker side. And now she's doing something really ballsy, investing into the operator in overtime. That means no armor. That means no utility. Full stock is committed into this weapon. We'll have to see if she can take that one to the moon. The FWOGS back against the wall as they find themselves now on the attacker side.
Medici unfortunately not going to get anything, as kind of like what we saw from Lynn earlier in the game. Just nobody walking into the sights there of the operator, but it gives a whole lot of information that they're not looking to hit B right away. They're not looking to creep up and try and put somebody on the flank. And a toxic screen cutting the sight in half to be disrespected as it falls down. Ellie looking to push on through. Okay, now needed to back away out towards screens. Able to take the wall down. Only one piece, but ML there to back her up for the kill. Ellie the first to fall. It's the Sage. It's your heal. It's your slows. It's your res. Off the table as FWOGS find themselves down a player, but they can back away and play the post plant.
And in a nice spot. No, Tife reads it, spams away. Team X could close right here. They're trying desperately to fight. Dinos attempting to make a play forward. Jance holds in the dark cover. There's still time to work with, but here comes Dinos. She gets one, however, the trades through. It goes back and forth, and Joe alone can't do it. Team X, they'll close out in overtime. They'll pull forward and take the first map here.
Wow, I mean, there is just no better way. The first map on a series that is do or die. Team X come out on top, and I was